Let's review Lord of Chaos, shall we? Welcome back everyone, welcome back to my studying. Today I just wanted to recap, well not recap, but put a bow on the whole book, review it as a whole. What were the pros and the cons? So in some short terms, we can summarize this book with Mazrim Time, the former false dragon, agrees to train male channelers for Rand. Nynaeve accidentally heals Loghain and also heals Siwan and Leanne, and Egwene becomes the Emerald. And of course, huge, giant battle happens with gigantic repercussions at the end for Aes Sedai. Now, what did I expect? Well, I expected two things. I expected more matte action, and I expected Rand to spend the majority of the book unifying nations under his banner. And secondly, I expected reappearance of Moraine, or at least I was hoping for one. What did I get instead? Rand, and even more Rand. But actually what I got was something very significant, which is the change in the status quo of both male and female channelers. Now, Rand did kind of give an amnesty to male channelers a book prior to that. But Lord of Chaos, this book, where it actually bears fruit with the farm or the Ashaman, and with the Aes Sedai kneeling at the end. This is major thing that kind of shakes the whole foundations of the power structures of the world. What I liked. Nynaeve is and continues to be my favorite character. She is very entertaining to read about, and she's kind of her own worst enemy. A lot of characters in Wheel of Time are their own worst enemies, just like in real life. But she continues to be great. And the moments of self-reflection she has from time to time are very rewarding. Secondly, and most importantly, the Battle of Dumais Wells. It is the highlight of the entire series so far, I think. It's one of the most exciting passages in fantasy I've ever read, modern or classic fantasy, no distinction. It's just great back to back. It worked. The reason it worked, because it managed to hit on two fronts, two very distinct fronts that, I mean, even if you can hit as a fantasy writer, even if you can hit one front well, I consider you to be a good writer. First front is the tactical aspect. When you have many different forces clashing, and the challenge in writing that is to have the chaotic nature of the battle represented with the clear understanding and placing of forces, so that the reader doesn't get lost on who's who, what positioning is where, and so on. And Robert Jordan absolutely succeeds at that. And the other front, which is equally important and built on the first one, is the emotional turmoil. The emotional turmoil of Rand as he is seemingly betrayed by Aes Sedai, his inner conflict, Lewis Theron. It's all on full display and completely earned. It's not like he just lashes out and goes crazy. There is an aspect of that, but there is this internal conflict in him that's very well done. You want him to lash out completely, and he does, but he has restraint. And lastly, just on general, various implications for the world building at large. Things like, well, is Louis Stern living as a semi-conscious entity that's reawakening in Rand's head? He doesn't feel anymore just like an echo of a past life. He feels like a fully formed, if not fully aware person. Implications about stilling and healing of it. Implications about what happens when the the Renaissance era setting of Wheel of Time gets nuclear powered weaponry in Ashaman. What does it do to a battlefield? What does it do to the perception of battlefield outside of it? What are the things that I didn't care for? Only two things, honestly. First of all, I want to reiterate that I am not victim blaming Rand, or am I drawing parallels between survivors of a assault of any kind and real world. I just thought that his reaction was very understated in regards to what Alanna did to him. And then, putting that aside, I'm kind of disappointed that other Aes Sedai didn't give more hell to Alanna about doing what she did. Yes, she is a despicable character. I don't see how can she be redeemable or redeemed in any way, shape, or form. And I hope she suffers for the rest of the series. But I was just hoping that there would be more repercussions for her, more... It's just, I got a feeling that others were like, yeah, what you did was awful, but I kind of wish it worked fully. The compelling worked. That's just icky on a just whole nother level. And lastly, and this is more of a constant problem I feel with the series as a whole, and I do think that it is a byproduct of me reading books back to back versus waiting for a book, sometimes years between books, and then maybe the publisher insisted or the Jordan did it on his own. The constant reiteration and recapping of things. Reiteration, not even recapping, reiteration of things that we already know several times over. This annoys me because I know firsthand that Jordan is brilliant at foreshadowing, which is why his work has endured so much. People are rereading his books time and time again. Therefore, I don't need a repeat and reiteration of things that were already explicit to begin with. I'm not talking about foreshadowing and implied connections and revelations. Those are good because I'm not a genius. I don't catch them all on the first read. What I do have an issue with is the constant reiterations of things we've told several times over. It's not a huge deal, but I think it adds to the padding. I hope it doesn't go overboard as the series go on. Now let's move on to predictions. First of all, the aftermath of Aes Sedai kneeling to Rand will be felt. But what I feel is, or fear, that Mazrim Taim will fall to the dark side. And automatically he will take some of his Ashaman with him. That kind of seems like inevitability to me. Because I think that Robert Jordan likes to draw parallels between two sides. The whole yin and yang is prevalent in the entire series. So if the White Tower had a schism, so will the Black Tower. Which leads me to, I hope Logain becomes a loyal high member of the Black Tower, or a foreign Black Tower. or at least a right-hand man who is loyal and not prone to dark side. I'm kind of wondering if, and this is a question I guess that I only now thought of, he got healed from his stealing. Does that mean that madness clock is reset on him? Just a thought. I also hope that Matt and Perrin team up and get into trouble, at least for a time. I do know that's becoming less and less probably possible because Perrin is quote-unquote a family man now, and Fael is a handful, and Matt has his own company of jolly men, and man can hope. And lastly, I do think that Moraine will reappear, and as a whole, my verdict is 5 stars. This is the most enjoyable book in the series so far, which is kind of a feat in itself, considering that it's quite hefty. It's a very meaty, very long book, and it manages to not lose the plot, so to say. So thank you everyone for watching, and see you next time. Please subscribe and leave a comment if you are so inclined. Thank you and take care.